you guys to the Cryptoverse DAO. It says, and you know, we're gonna start this one quick little update, see what we went through and what the market's telling us now, right? So, you know, every day 2:30, 3:30 Eastern and 6:30 UTC, be going over, you know, the latest discussions, TA, fundamental analysis. So make sure to tap in with us, join the link on the YouTube video, and let's get into some technicals, right? So right here we have the Cryptoverse DAO as well. Very what's going on in the space. So tap in with us there, but let's get straight into this Bitcoin chart, right? Clean chart, haven't marked this one up yet, so it's a beautiful chart to look at. Notice how the price action holding above this last wick, and that's pretty much it. If we draw it from this wick, oh, we do have lines on here, cool. Them symmetrical lines, it looks like, but these would be on lower time frames. So realize that we're on the monthly right now, and you know this 30K region was just a trap door. Once we lost, didn't have on the monthly. What I'm pinpointing is just this top of the wick. Notice how it actually ends this monthly candle. We come down a little bit for the next month, and then we shoot through. And on the opposite. So everything in this market is just a support or resistance flip. If it's above it, it's testing as support. If it's coming down, it's testing as resistance. If it's coming down, it's testing, you know, this area as support now. So let's go down. You see the monthly is at the 40 RSI, the level that we love to see some bullish momentum. And this is on the monthly. So, you know, the monthly has, you know, it's one of the strongest charts. On the weekly, we have these three candles of symmetry coming in. That's just what I'm pinpointing right now. When you have candles of symmetry, this is just consolidation. The last 3 weeks, sideways, box range, right? We did, you know, break out one time, trying to get back above this 21,800 level. Down, you can see that better on the daily. As well, take a note of the weekly RSI. Weekly RSI is very well oversold. We haven't seen, you know, it oversold like this, even in the last bear market during COVID, right? So even during this bear market, weekly RSI has never been this low, at least on this exchange, KuCoin. All right, cool. So now back to the price action. We're seeing, you know, the candles of symmetry come in, and we also see how, you know, the RSI rejected off of getting out of oversold, which is not really too good for the bulls. But nonetheless, if we could hold, you know, this weekly RSI anywhere above these two lower points, maybe around this line right here, give it a nice little left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder come in, we might be able to see a bullish div come into play. We cannot rule out, you know, a quick liquidation sweep or a quick, even down to, you know, these lower levels, 14K, 15.8K. So there's still many levels. But notice, like, during this parabolic run, we retraced some, right? This is a weekly candle, so we retraced some for the week, but then we just kept pushing. So this is, you know, this is natural in market environments. Nothing, you know, goes straight up, consolidates, comes down, you know, goes sideways for a bit, but now the correction comes. The correction is not a correction from, you know, this low or this low anymore, or this low. Now we're thinking of correction from area, or I would say even this 10K area, which a lot of analysts, or not a lot of analysts, but a lot of crypto Twitter, you know, the FUD is calling for that price. But like a good friend said, Connor, you just kind of have to do the opposite of what the retail is doing or the masses. And it could be that simple, but you know, in this market condition, you know, going down 20% in a day and then getting bought back up 15% is nothing. So be, you know, aware of these quick wicks that could happen. And this is all on the weekly, just showing you how it's hitting that zone perfectly. We just made that zone. And then let's go down to the daily. Very quick stream, a lot of just price action, not too much lines on this one. I haven't seen this chart in probably a year, not years, in weeks, but notice how nice little double top comes in, right? It's not really a double top. This high was broken, right? The price action did close above, but look what happens when we get that daily doji candle, maybe on a Saturday or something like that. Weekend price action, and then we come down and we flush it out. Notice how this wick also comes up. If you had your stop loss on entry, just trying to hold on for take you out, right? So that's cool. Daily got kind of near the 60, wasn't able to break the 60, collapsed to the 40 RSI, which is, big, but we still seen it on the monthly is at the 40 and the weekly is oversold. So the daily, if we could hold support above oversold, even if price action comes to the bottom of this zone again, even this green line, and we have a bullish divergence here, that would be set up like this, something like this, where the line would hold and we don't break, and the price action is, lower than these candles, but the RSI isn't. That might be a daily confirmation that we take along and we open up some short spot positions. So big daily, we've seen the doji set it off, and then we're getting down to like the 4. This is such a big area to be in right now. We have a shoulder coming in, right? Only 9 minutes left in this candle, and the price action of this candle is below this one, right? But on the RSI, it's saying it's a double bottom, slight bullish divergence. Let's see if we can find an entry. The 45, I'm going long. I'd love for a pullback. Let's take a look at the smaller thing. Good, boom, boom. 3 minutes already going way, it's kind of exaggerated how hard it's pumped off of this little move. But nonetheless, if we can hold above this support, it might be a good long. Also see a little butterfly doji right here, but the bulls have to kind of eat this candle, hopefully engulf it on the 15. Now let's go back. We're at the 3 hour. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's go to the 3. So we see the 3 hour doesn't have that little double bottom like the 4 hour had. It's actually breaching into oversold. But notice how when it's breaching into oversold, it had some support here, but now it's getting into oversold. Can this oversold test, right, push down past this low on the price action? Because notice where this RSI low came in to this candle. Now this one's getting mighty close to that same point, that double bottom, kind of like on the 4 hour, just on an exaggerated time frame, on a little smaller time frame. We could see, if the bulls could hold this and have a nice push within this next hour, the bulls could, still regain some momentum and, maybe look for like a retest of, I'd say this area, make one more little zone. Maybe retest here. This is about the 0.5 over retracement from the drop from the top, maybe 0.382. Or maybe, it would have to come up here, retrace, an area up here, and then those, or it wants to, break out. If we're looking for a pattern structure on this chart right now, the best thing I can see is something like an ascending triangle. We already have the horizontal test. Yeah, in the test, you see when we capitulated, this is the lowest point we've been at on Bitcoin, this cycle. We kind of bounced hard from here, came back, and now we're just using that trend line as a support. What happens when the ascending triangle support doesn't work out? It flips into a resistance. Support turns into a resistance. You get the retest of this green line and black line as and then test. Always look for the last lows and the last highs, last high, last high, last high, last high. Right? So know your market structure, very important. And let me keep going down because I might be missing this long. 2 hour. We have the 2 hour coming back into oversold, but we notice how you got, left shoulder, head. Will this right shoulder hold right there? 1 hour. What? Okay, that's 1 minute. Sorry. 1 hour. Many test oversold. Now we're just now testing. Oh my gosh. We'll put it in on ETH. Or we're going to degen and do 8. Let's see what apes. doji's forming on the 15-minute, but you know, the bulls still need continuation. So let's just give it a second. Let's let this 4-hourly close, this 4-hour close come in. And usually on the hourly closes, you know, the bigger ones, the better. They have more volume. You'll see a lot of volume towards the end of the day candle, which is candle will make the next day candle. But notice, you know, like when a monthly candle will come in, if we go back to the beginning of this month, look at how we close this month, all the way down, not even 4 hours before the end of the month, right? This is the end of the month candle from June 30th going into next month. A lot of people were like, oh, nice bullish reaction here. But that was just, you know, the monthly closing. So if you looked at the monthly closing, and you see where that blue line was, or the blue box, you can see how, even though we came down here, you know, the monthly ended up closing above this box. So that's why the box is still, you know, or our zone is still using this as support right now. But if the bears could breach that box, it might be very bad for the bulls. Let's see. So yeah, pretty much our main pattern right now is that ascending triangle. And then I don't really see it like that, but we could see a little bit of a wedge forming as well. Let's see if we could tighten this up. Something like that. The only thing is we don't have that resistance where you want a wedge, something to touch like maybe around here, so it would be like that. See if we can still find. But all this is, you know, this is just a trend line, so it just induces liquidity. So there we go, we found the wedge, and this is what the bulls are trying to hold. They're trying to hold the support of the ascending triangle and trying to hold the support of this wedge, as well as stay above this zone. Notice how when we came to the zone at first, it was a reaction. We came up, tested resistance, and the downtrend commenced again, you know, continued, next leg. But what we love is this RSI not going oversold. Let's go back to the lower time frames, 15, 5-minute, okay, 30-minute. Notice, you know, on the 30-minute, a doji coming in. So with this next candle, we get a 4-hour close and we get a 30-minute close, 30 minutes saying doji. Maybe we get one little wick to the downside, test the downside again. If we could hold above this wick, that'll be my entry for long. If we can't hold above it and, you know, we collapse in the zone, I will be looking for maybe 18 or 1900 get hit, retest of here, and then we could continue down more. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, this is a boiling point. This is a pinch. This is where big moves do happen, right? And that's all we have to kind of be aware about right now. Just the trend and the structure. Pretty much 20K is our peg, right? We got to 20K here. We hit it. Close enough. 2100, bounce. 2100, bounce. Fell through the peg, fell hard, right? 17K. Bounced right back to our 20K peg, stayed above it. Came back to 20K. 20K is about right here. Bounce, right? Finally got back through it. Big drop through 20K. Right back up to 20K. Right back down from 20K, right? So this middle area right here, this 20K region, in between this zone and this area is pretty much our, right? This is where the price loves to return to. So in saying that, right now, for looking for shorts, we'd like to look for shorts, you know, above this green line, touching this green line and near this top area. And we like to look for longs, you know, along this trend line or support. And that's just that. This is, you know, still a very bearish trend. If we're not looking at too much like the RSI, this is the same thing that's been happening this whole cycle, right? Drop, like a big drop, consolidate sideways, even though, you know, down and up, those are nice percentage moves. But this is what it does. pump up, go sideways, and then the move comes. So yes, we could find, nice moves and shorts from like here to here, 9%, from here to here. It's easier going up. That's 13%, 14%. And then, continuation. Here we see the same thing a little bit. This one was more of a rising channel, or a very, kind of big like bear flag. So you see how the range here played, 30% up. And that means it's only about 15% down in the range, or, 20%. But that's what we've been looking at. This is, the market structure. We've just been making lower highs and lower lows, right? Lower highs right here is, we make some higher highs, and then we finally break, make a lower low, go sideways, make a lower low. Sideways here, do we hold the support or do we make a lower low? Do we hold this zone? That would be the key. If we wanted to, this one's nice, but if we wanted to say something a little bit different, we could also say, wouldn't even move it, I'll be like, I'll leave it just like this, because this is, almost a parallel line. If you like clone it, a lot of this thing, a lot of using like cloned lines, they will show you depictions of, your next support level. As we see, this one is from this wick, but to encompass the whole trend, I used the bottom wick on that last one on the daily. We see the support that this, 3 hours trying to hold. We just got that 4 hour close in as well. So let's see. Below the wedge, right inside the ascending triangle though. So what a pinch, right? What a pinch. That 15-minute, we got a 15-minute downside, 15-minute upside. This is so beautiful because this happens all the time. Wick the top, wick the bottom, right? Now we're going sideways. So we just encompass, the wicks encompass the trend and the price action. If you break from the top of the wick or out of the top of the wick, that's what happens. Let me take this down. With a entry like this, I don't like to risk. I'm a scalper until I can swing the trade, right? So all I have to do is put 10%. I'll lose $31 if I lose, and you can see where my stop loss would be. It would be like towards the end of this wick. I'm on 10 times leverage, so this would be about a 1% move down. In that scenario. If we're looking at ETH to Bitcoin, what a big point. And look at how the 40 RSI is holding, right? We have this low come in here. This day is not over, so we can't really count it. But we do notice how we're testing this 40 RSI. This 40 RSI is going to be the make or break right here, guys. And it's not on the ETH chart. It's not on the Bitcoin chart. It's on the ETH to USD, because this is what determines the market flow. The market money, like you have to follow the money. Some of these alts during this phase right here, when Bitcoin was still ranging, some alts did 100%, 50%, 70%. We see that once we topped out here, ETH couldn't make this new higher, had a little descending. If you looked at the green here, could move this one down a little bit, but I'm not going to, because these are strong lines. The open of these candles, wicks here, and then once we finally close below resistance flip, notice that we're stayed. Notice how we stayed in the zone. If we even go on a 3 hour, rising, finally hit the descending resistance. 3 hour doji, hard fall. Big divergences, but we could see that this price action over here was above over here. As well, we see the RSI wasn't able to clear this last peak. It did get equal to this one, but it wasn't able to fulfill it. So we came down, and ETH to Bitcoin has dumped. What we want to see for the bull market, right, is Bitcoin lead. We don't want to see Ethereum and the altcoins lead the market. We want the most dominant coin to pump us. Rare times when we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance, it's very rarely that we'll see, I'm looking for it, I'm sorry. Is it not here? Bitcoin dominance. There's very rare times that we'll see during a bull market where the dominance will grow, right? So if we look at like, there's very rarely times where in a bull market, the dominance grows. In bull markets, this is what happens, right? From March 21st, the COVID crash, this is where, you know, Bitcoin had its pump, right? So to say, or let's go to daily here. So we see how high Bitcoin dominance was, you know, March 20th. It was also, this is actually the lowest point of the bear market, you know, during the cycle, not during this one, but, you know, after we bought up this bear cycle, we did, you know, make a lower low, but it got bought up very quickly, and this is where the bull happened. So this is kind of something I'll be looking for. We're already in a bear market, right? This has already happened. We still haven't had, you know, this reaction rally here, which was, you know, pretty nice. This is actually a very nice bull market right here. But back to the point, right? So right here, March 20th, even though Bitcoin is increasing in value, if we look at the dominance, we see the dominance of the market shifting from 62% into Bitcoin when, you know, it's at that 3K region, everyone's fearful. Then we see, you know, Bitcoin dominance drop severely over many, many days consecutively. And this is when you see the pump from, you know, ETH to Bitcoin, right? If we looked at March 20th here, it's just the opposite. From here, March, once, you know, Bitcoin hit its bottom, you can see ETH rallied even more than Bitcoin. So ETH in this, you know, rally right here gained almost 22% to Bitcoin. And that's just something to pick up on. So that's why I'm saying, like, I want to see really Bitcoin lead this rally. And yeah, breaking that support line, we're now coming below the 40. So we have to watch that long I just entered. I risked what I was, you know, comfortable with losing, and that's the best thing, you know, we could do in this market. Just, you know, take nice trades and just be confident in your analysis, bro. So let's check out ETH real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. Too many lines here, hold on. So ETH has fell below the 40 as well. But I'm really interested to see how, you know, this 4-hour candle, you know, we just got a new 4-hour candle. So this is a 4-hour downside test. I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to close below. Lots of wicks in this area as support, but, you know, if once it's tested once, twice, 3, 4 times, now this door has been knocked on enough. Can we now slip? Can we now open the floodgates? And, you know, will ETH take lows before Bitcoin does? Because, you know, when we finally bottomed out on Bitcoin, we can see the alts, you know, have a little bit better reaction. But that is, you know, that's just because they're alts. And it very oversold on here, but still, we notice how, like, notice how we have, you know, this ascending or like support line right here, right, coming up. But if we're looking at the price action from these lows, they're going down. So we still haven't made a lower low to these RSIs on the 15-minute. And that's kind of why I like this long right here. But all I'm risking is, you know, to the end of the wick. I don't have to put my stop loss. If you have, you know, a good strategy, or you're entering at supports for longs, and not at resistances for longs, you know, trying to follow the breakout, then we get to, you know, take more trades, and we also get to have much tighter stop losses. Tight stop losses can be, you know, a burden sometimes, but all you need to do for that is, you know, DCA in. If you're not confident with your first entry, put 25% on. And then, you know, when the next dip comes, you're like, oh, wow, that shit really did dip again. DCA, because then, you know, whatever price you entered at first, plus the second price, it's going to be in the middle of those two prices. One thing I would say is just don't DCA too quick, you know. Let the trade envelop and play out. Don't be just slamming in margin every time the price moves $5. So that's it. We still have this 3-hour close coming in, which is very important for this next hourly candle, because this 3-hour close is closing, right? But notice, you know, we only have one 4-hour candle left in the day. So that means only 4 hours left in the day. And this 3-hour candle's already been built 2 hours. So seeing what this candle closes as will be the first hour. And then we have one more 3-hour to complete the day. So like everything, like I was saying before, everything works in symmetry. Your lines, you know, usually they're even. You want to have, you know, a symmetrical shape as your pattern, or time frames. Time frames are alignments, right? So they do matter. The higher time frame, the stronger. And that's what I'm gonna leave you guys with today. Thank you guys for joining. Simon says, what's up, guys? What we thinking?